Welcome to Nacrius Cloud Academy, a journey to pinnacle of success. In this video, we will be learning how JIRA tool is being used in IT Agile Projects. As I have already covered what Agile methodology is, and we have also discussed one of the most commonly and widely used Agile methodology, that is Scrum. I would highly recommend you to watch that video, links of which I will share in the description section of this video. Let me brief you on what is Agile principles. It is an iterative development methodology, adaptive to change in the project requirements. It involves frequent delivery. It helps to establish a close collaboration between cross-functional teams. JIRA supports Scrum and Kanban Agile methodology. Since Scrum is the most widely used Agile methodology, I will be explaining you how we manage Scrum projects in JIRA in this video. So let's start. To manage Scrum projects in JIRA, the entire project is broken into smaller functionalities represented by epics and user stories, where epic is a larger body of work which is in turn broken into user stories. User story or story is the smallest unit of work and represents a feature that is to be developed. So you can say a user story is a subset of an epic. Once all the features are gathered and corresponding user stories are defined, they are then prioritized by the product owner and then continuously implemented and delivered in short cycles known as sprints. A sprint is normally of 2 to 4 weeks duration. I have given a detailed explanation about Scrum and Scrum ceremonies in my previous video. To brief here, a Scrum project starts off with a product backlog that contain all the features you want to build in the form of user stories. These features or user stories gets prioritized so that the most important features are at the top of the product backlog and is owned by the product owner. All the features that are prioritized are in a ready state with all the requirements and details discussed and gathered during a sprint grooming ceremony. A group of features that are then selected and made available in the sprint backlog, basically representing that the team will implement these features during the current sprint. This task is done during sprint planning, where assigned developers provides estimates, that is story points, to each of their tasks. Once the sprint is started, the team will track the progress on each of their tasks during the sprint daily stand-up ceremony, that is of a duration of 15 minutes, in order to make sure the team is on track and there are no blockers or dependencies in completing the task. This meeting is facilitated by the Scrum Master to ensure team is on track and is unblocked. Developers will first take the task and mark the status as in progress and provide daily updates on the work carried out in the tasks in the comment section as well as in the daily Scrum calls, also called daily stand-up calls. Once the features are developed, developers will then mark the status of a task as done, after which the feature is ready for a demo to the project stakeholders during the sprint demo or sprint review ceremony, followed by a sprint retrospective where past sprint is discussed for what went well, what can be improved, and celebrate team's good work. Now that we have briefing of the Scrum, let us move on to JIRA Interface and understand how Agile projects are being managed in JIRA. Once you log into the JIRA using the JIRA board link provided to you by your team, you will see the page like this. Let's explore what options we have in this page. The first tab is a Your Work Group tab. This page gives summary of things that are most recent and relevant to you, like the recent projects with some information about them. Below which we see the 4 tabs that are Worked On tab. This section lists all issues that you are working on today, yesterday, in the last month, and more than a month ago. Then we have Viewed tab. This section displays various different things you viewed today, yesterday, in the last month, and more than a month ago. The third tab is Assigned to Me tab, which lists all the issues that are assigned to you, grouped by status of each of the issue like in progress, to do, open or done, etc. Lastly, we have Starred tab. It is basically kind of your favorites. For example, if you navigate to the projects and select the SSP project and click on Add to Starred, you will notice in a while that your project is added under the Starred project. Similarly, if you click on Remove from Starred, you will see in a while the project is removed from the Starred tab. Now let's move on to the second tab on the top horizontal navigation, that is the Projects tab. If you click on this tab, it will list all the projects like Starred projects, Recent projects, and also you will get a link to View all projects and Create project. The first time you start a project, it will look something like this, where you will see 0 backlog items, selected for development as 0, in progress 0, and done 0 items. In order to demonstrate the JIRA board, I have created a sample board with sample data, which looks something like this. We will be using this sample project to understand various tabs in JIRA board in this video. The third tab is a Filters tab, which will allow you to search for issues across all projects and save them as filters. Along with this, you have an option to view all filters and option to add advanced issue search filter. Moving on to the next tab is the Dashboard tab, which will allow you to create a dashboard to track the status of your projects, along with options to view all dashboards and create dashboard. This is like a control which allows you to add information that is relevant to your project. Now let's take a look at the default dashboard listed here by JIRA. This shows 4 gadgets like Introduction, Assign to Me, Projects, Activity Streams. You can customize this page based on your requirement, on what information you want to be displayed in this page. To do that, click on the Edit link. You will see options to add gadget, change layout, and things like that. Once all changes are completed, you should click on Done for the changes to take effect. The next tab is the Peoples tab, which allow you to collaborate and add team members to the projects. It is basically a collection of users. The last tab is the Apps tab, which will list all the plugins and add-on that are available for your instance of JIRA. Like here, JIRA provides some recommended apps like Slack, Figma, and X-Ray. You can explore more apps, manage your apps, as well as view app requests. In addition to these tabs, you also have a Create button which will create an issue for you. Moving over to the right side, you will see a search text box which will allow you to search for the content. You will also see quick links to go to all boards, projects, filters, and people. You can also go for an advanced search. Along with this, you have things like notification, help, and account settings icons for details on the JIRA account and its settings. Since I am logged in as an admin, you will see more options here. But in real-time projects, you will be given limited access and would not be able to see many of these options. Let's now understand more details on the Projects tab, as this is a mostly used tab by you in the real-world scenarios. Go to the Projects tab and select the sample project. In the left side, you will see a sub-navigation panel that helps you navigate various pages under this project. At the top, you will see the project you are under, below which you will find 2 sections, namely Planning and Development. Under Planning, you see the boards for your project. If you click on the drop-down, you see different boards available for selection. And if you select any other board, it will refresh and displays the project associated with that board. Let's go back to our SSP board and the sample project. Below the board, you will see options like Roadmap for the project, which displays the detailed roadmap of the project. You can filter the display by selecting options like Today, Weeks, Months, or Quarters to visualize the project roadmap. Next, we have Backlog, which will list all the backlog items or features which are to be developed and released iteratively in the upcoming sprints. This is managed and owned by the product owner. Next is the Active Sprints, which list all the tasks that are taken up by the team to work in the current sprint. The task under this will be owned by the developers and updated on daily basis until completed and marked to done status. Next is very important tab called reports that will give all the reports for that project. This is normally used to generate reports to represent the sprint status to the project stakeholders. Normally used by Scrum Master or Developer Lead. Using this tab, you can generate reports like burn down chart report, burn up chart report, sprint report, velocity chart, and so on. Now let's look at what are the various reports we can generate for the sprint under this tab. During the sprint or at the end of the sprint, you can pull out many reports for representation of the sprint to the project stakeholders. Let's look at few of the most commonly generated reports. We have the burn down and the burn up charts, which will allow the team to track the work being done while the sprint is in progress. Burn down chart will provide representation of how many story points are completed and compared against the committed story points of that sprint. We are good as long as the red line is below the grey line. Concerns will be raised if the red line is above the grey line, indicating that we will not be able to meet the sprint goals. Whereas the burn up chart will provide a representation of sprint completed work compared with this total scope. As we complete developing more and more features, we will be reaching the sprint scope. Next we have sprint report, which shows the list of issues in each sprint. Issues completed, issues not completed. This is useful for the sprint retrospective meetings and also for mid-sprint progress checks. Next is a sprint velocity, which is nothing but a team's capacity to complete the number of story points within the sprint. This can be set for a team after monitoring the progress of the team's performance during the initial sprints. Once we have a number of stories that team can achieve, Product Owner and Scrum Master will then do sprint planning for those many story points in the subsequent sprints. These are the most commonly used reports that will be useful to track the sprint status. There are other reports as well, which are useful for more customized reporting of the project health to different stakeholders. You can build your knowledge on top of this. I will be sharing the links to JIRA guides from the official Atlassian website for your future reference in the description section of this video. Next we have issues. An issue represents a work item. It might be an epic, stories, bugs, etc. All of these are issues with different issue type. Once you click on this, you will see various filters for the issues like all issues, my open issues, issues reported by me, open issues, done issues, and so on. Next, components. Components allow you to create subsection for your project. For example, front end, back end, and then you can assign issues to the respective components. It is a kind of categorizing your issues. Moving on to the development section, we have code, which is used to create an automated DevOps workflow. Next in this section, we have releases option that represents your software releases or versions. This is where you will create your versions for your projects. You can update the search results to display different statuses like released, unreleased, or archived. Down below, we have a section containing options like project pages, which allows you to attach Confluence pages to the project, which makes reference to the content related to the project with the Confluence pages for more clarity. Next is the add shortcut, which allows to add links to frequently accessed resources, repositories, or project pages to facilitate your team members to have easy access to the important resources of the project. Finally, we have project settings. This option is visible only to administrator and not for the team members. This option allows you to maintain the project level settings. I hope you got a fair idea about the various options you see in the JIRA tool. Now let's understand how developers exactly use JIRA board in Scrum projects. Once you start your sprint after sprint planning and pulled all that sprint tasks to work on in the active sprint, you can go to this tab and get details of all the tasks for the current sprint. You can filter the task with your name or any of your team members' name. You can also have option to view only my issues or recently updated issues. Initially, all the tasks will be in to-do status, and after you own the task, you need to mark them in progress status. On a daily basis, you filter your in-progress issues and track your progress under the comments section of the tasks. Same thing is reported in the daily stand-up calls to the Scrum team. Once you are done with the development of the feature, you need to mark the status of the task to done state. All done tasks are reviewed during the sprint review Scrum ceremony. There are other status which are used by the companies like blocked, product review, testing, and so on. These are customizable as per project requirement and mostly done by administrator. If the team is not able to complete any of the tasks within the sprint for various reasons like blocked due to external dependencies, not in control of the developer, no proper estimates provided to the task during the sprint planning, all such issues will be spilled over to the next sprint. Developers tries to avoid such occurrence to maintain the good sprint health and avoid future delays in achieving the project roadmap. Product owner can also add new tasks to the sprint in mid of the sprint and deprioritize other tasks if any critical business requirement arise. Once all the tasks are completed and reviewed in Scrum review ceremony, sprint is completed by clicking on Complete Sprint button here at the top right section. JIRA is a flexible tool which provides customization as per your project requirements. Since this customization is done by the administrator, I will leave it for you to explore more by referring to the link which I will be sharing in the description section of this video. With this, I conclude my today's session on JIRA tool. Thank you for your time and I hope I was able to deliver value for your time. If so, support me on this initiative of handholding the fresh IT professionals to sail smoothly through the initial phase of their career. Join hands with me in reaching out to as many people as possible who are looking for such information by subscribing to my channel. I will talk to you again in my next video. Until then, take care and keep spreading the joy of giving among people around you. This is Tasleem signing off for now.